Chamberlain in Britain followed the policy of appeasement for several different reasons. Firstly, it was to avoid another war. The memories of World War I, the horrific casualties, the terrible suffering were still fresh in people's memories. And there was a lot of pressure on Chamberlain to make sure that a war on such a level was avoided. Secondly, Britain was sympathetic towards Germany and Hitler, specifically because they felt that the Treaty of Versailles had been too harsh. For example, the massive army cuts, the land loss, etc., etc. They felt sympathy towards Hitler and therefore allowed a lot of leeway. Thirdly, communism was seen as the real threat. Communist Russia, specifically with Stalin, was seen as the major enemy of the time, and many also felt that Hitler being strong and powerful was actually a good thing, as they could be used in order to fight Communist Russia. Hitler had many different foreign policy aims, and these are central to understanding why World War II actually came about. Firstly, a clear foreign policy aim was to destroy the Treaty of Versailles. Hitler had hated the different terms since its very signing in 1919, and specifically he wanted to rearm Germany again to make it a strong, powerful country. He wanted to be united with Austria again, otherwise known as the Anschluss, and he also wanted to restore German people's pride, so for example make Germany a leading nation again. Secondly, and what's also central to Hitler's thinking, was this idea of Lebensraum. This actually means living space, and he wanted to expand Germany's borders eastwards and take over countries like Poland, Czechoslovakia and Russia. And a third and another important foreign policy aim was Hitler's desire to destroy communism. He saw Stalin and Communist Russia as a threat to Germany, and he openly stated that he wanted to destroy it. Consequently, the world was shocked when Germany signed the Nazi-Soviet pact with Russia in 1939. Here are the first steps of World War II. In 1935, Hitler began to rearm Germany's armed forces. Firstly, this was done secretly, but Hitler increasingly rearmed out in the open. When Britain did find out, it did nothing. They were actually quite sympathetic to Hitler's claims that Germany needed a larger army if it was to defend itself. It's important to remember that Britain actually saw Communist Russia as the threat and not Hitler's Germany. In 1936, Hitler marched his own troops into the Rhineland. This is the area next to the French border and actually acts as like a county is in Britain. The Rhineland was actually an area that was supposed to be banned from any German soldiers in order to protect France's borders. Hitler actually took a massive risk in doing this, as he actually gave his German generals orders to retreat if there were any signs of French resistance. This is important because many historians think that if Britain had acted then perhaps there might not have even been a World War II. In 1938, Hitler actually unified Germany with Austria, also known as the Anschluss. This is also important because it was banned under the Treaty of Versailles. Remember, Britain was actually sympathetic to Hitler's claims that the treaty was too harsh. Consequently, Germany was able to unite with Austria without any qualms from Britain and France. In 1938, Hitler demanded an area of Czechoslovakia and part of the Sudetenland. Britain was quite sympathetic with this, as there were many German-speaking people there. When Hitler found out about this sympathy, he actually demanded all of the Sudetenland. This was a problem because the Czechoslovakian president refused to give this area away. Consequently, Hitler threatened to go to war over this issue. Mussolini of Italy arranged a meeting known as the Munich Conference, where key countries from around the world attended and decided upon the fate of the Sudetenland. Funnily enough, Czechoslovakia was not even present at the meeting. These countries, led by Britain and France, decided that the area of the Sudetenland should be given to Germany. Chamberlain returned from the Munich agreement a hero. He was greeted at the airport by thousands of people. He waved aloft a piece of paper that had been signed by Hitler, which promised never to go to war with Britain. He waved this piece of paper in the air and cried aloud, he had achieved peace in our time. This was really important to Chamberlain, as he felt that his policy of appeasement had been successful. However, he had told Hitler that giving away Sudetenland was the last part of his policy of appeasement. It would be the last concession that he would be willing to make. In March of 1939, Hitler went against his promise of not invading the rest of Czechoslovakia. This is really important, as the British realised that Hitler could not be trusted and was indeed an aggressive dictator. Consequently, Chamberlain promised the Polish people that if Germany was to invade them, then Britain would declare war on Germany. In the summer of 1939, Hitler began to unfold his plan to take over Poland. He made a secret pact with Russia which became known as the Nazi-Soviet Pact. This promised not to attack one another in case of war. At the same time, they promised to divide Poland up. Hitler felt that Britain would not declare war if Russia was involved in the attack on Poland. On the 1st of September, the invasion came. Poland was attacked from both the west by Germany and the east by Russia. Chamberlain did in fact stick to his promise. War was declared on 1939 on March the 3rd. In summary, when Hitler took over Czechoslovakia in March 1939, it proved that Chamberlain's policy of appeasement was actually a failure. This directly led to Chamberlain promising to protect Poland in case Hitler attacked. This is incredibly significant in understanding why there was a world war in 1939. Hitler tried to get the cooperation of Russia in order to make sure that Chamberlain would not go ahead with his promise to declare war in case he attacked Poland. Consequently, it was Hitler's foreign policy aims of expanding eastwards, this idea of Lebensraum, also his desire to make sure that he did destroy communism and move eastwards, that led to the creation of another world war simply 21 years after the First Great War of 1914.